Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor to invite Her Royal Highness Princess Ghida Talal of Jordan to deliver the commencement address. Royal Highness, let me briefly introduce you, although perhaps you need no introduction. Her Royal Highness is a Hoya. She is a graduate of the SFS class of 1986, and indeed also the MSFS, the Masters in Foreign Service. She's a chairperson of the King Hussein Cancer Foundation in Jordan. Hailing from a prominent family in Lebanon, she took the challenging 5-year 1 and 2 combination of the BSFS and MSFS, which only the very best students attempt. And in parenthesis, in which in fact we've had several of our Doha students accepted too, I'm pleased to say. It is also Georgetown that she first met her future husband. After graduating, Princess Ghida pursued a career in journalism in London. Following her marriage in 1991 to His Royal Highness Prince Talal bin Mohammed of Jordan, the late King Hussein asked her to establish the International Press Office of the Royal Hashemite Court and to become his press secretary. In 2001, His Majesty King Abdullah II appointed her as chairperson of the King Hussein Cancer Foundation. Indeed, as the wife of a cancer survivor, Princess Ghida has devoted herself to the fight against cancer and has been a tireless fundraiser for the center. Princess Ghida has served on the Georgetown University Board of Regents and currently serves on the advisory board of the MSFS, the Master in Foreign Service. She's also on the board of the Scholar Rescue Fund of the Institute of International Education, and there she played a role in launching the Iraq Scholar Rescue Project, helping to bring Iraqi scholars back in touch with their academic networks and careers. Princess Ghida is also an active member of the Clinton Global Initiative and an honorary member of the Mediterranean Task Force for Cancer Control. She is honorary chairperson of the Jordan Society for Pediatric Oncology. And she's also a board member of the Jordanian National Gallery and, not least, the honorary chairperson of the Jordanian Swimming Federation. And today, she's your commencement speaker. Your Royal Highness.
Thank you. Sheikh Mayasa, Your Excellencies, President DeJoya, Dean Noneman, proud parents, and my fellow Hoyas. I would like to start by extending my deepest and most heartfelt congratulations to everyone present for Georgetown, Qatar's 10th anniversary, and to applaud the tremendous achievements that have taken place over this amazing decade. I am particularly happy that with us today is the one person who loves Georgetown more than I do. We shared the same dorm on campus, New South, and he was my wonderful RA. Many years later, his continued passion for Georgetown propelled him to become its star president. And I personally hope that he will stay in this position forever. He is, of course, President Jack DeJoya. SFS Qatar is only one beautiful example amongst countless others, and they are a direct result of the far-sighted leadership of the far-sighted policies of Qatar's visionary leadership. His Highness Sheikh Hamad bin Khalifa Al Thani, Her Highness Sheikh Moza bint Nasser, and His Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad have transformed a small desert peninsula in the Arabian Gulf into a household name like no other in every corner of the globe. Specifically, Qatar has successfully invested in establishing world-class institutions in diverse fields, such as education, Georgetown, healthcare, international centers such as Sidra, media, Al Jazeera, the world's news source, culture, both Islamic and Western, Sheikh Mayasa, culture, travel, Qatar Airways, arguably the best airline in the world, and sports, bringing the World Cup to the Arab world for the very first time. My fellow Hoyas, I cannot tell you how thrilled I am to be back amongst my School of Foreign Service family. Georgetown and SFS have played huge roles in my life. When I joined Georgetown, my country, Lebanon, was at war. Fear and chaos reigned supreme. My parents, my source of strength and guidance to this day, did not hesitate for a second and sent me to Georgetown. Georgetown was actually the only university I applied to. For me, it was either Georgetown or nothing. Lucky for me, I got accepted. My parents ended up sending not just one, not two, not three, but 4 children to Georgetown. And in 3 years' time, my own children will hopefully continue this beautiful tradition and become Hoyas themselves, having been thoroughly brainwashed by their parents since they were in diapers. My daughter Raja is here with me for her first Georgetown experience. I must confess that it feels as though a blink of an eye has passed since I sat at my own SFS commencement 5 years ago. And now I find myself standing at the podium addressing new graduates. It is truly a surreal experience. So knowing firsthand what it is to sit in an SFS commencement audience, I was more than a little daunted when searching for remarks that could both engage young minds of your caliber and leave you with a few thoughts that you may find helpful as you embark on your journey through life. The obvious place to begin with must be our common point of departure, Georgetown. Our Georgetown education and the myriad tools that it has equipped us with, both intellectual and moral, to meet life's never-ending challenges and demands. More specifically, I refer to the School of Foreign Service, which has trained us in the subtle and sometimes not so subtle, complex arts of international diplomacy. For many, the application of these arts is embodied in the words of the 19th century British statesman Lord Palmerston, who observed that nations have no permanent friends, only permanent interests. While there may be much truth to these words, my own experiences have shown me that Lord Palmerston was perhaps only telling us half the story. My life's experiences has taught me rather that in life, there are no permanent enemies, and that it is always in one's permanent interests to never stop trying to convert the adversaries of today into the staunch allies of tomorrow. I would point to the example of our Prophet, who forgave his bitterest opponents and cruelest persecutors, turning them into champions of the faith, and thus bringing Islam to the ends of the earth in the space of a couple of generations. In my own personal life, I have the shining example of Jordan's beloved late King Hussein, who time and again transformed his would-be killers into the most die-hard of loyalists. This is why I believe that we have now moved well beyond Lord Palmerston's one-dimensional worldview. Instead, I urge you to never miss an opportunity to make a new friend and to nurture that friendship to its fullest potential. Never give up on those who have disappointed you in the past, and extend instead the hand of reconciliation towards them. And finally, whatever you do, let it always be a labor of joy. In my life, Georgetown has been the foundation, the springboard that has enabled me to reach where I am today. So let me tell you where Georgetown propelled me. Immediately after graduation, I embarked on a career in journalism. I started with ABC News in London as a desk editor. The smart title of desk editor was actually quite deceiving. Armed with a bachelor's and master's degree, magna cum laude from Georgetown, I expected to find the world lying at my feet. I found myself right back at the bottom of the food chain. I had to start at the very bottom. I spent months working from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., standing on my feet all day long, mechanically slicing off rolls of news feed for the journalists, bringing them coffee and biscuits, and never, ever being allowed to give my opinion, as if I were illiterate. But I learned immensely from that job. I could have done this job without any degree at all, but I persevered, hoping for better days. I realized that I had to prove myself in an area that was far from the Middle Eastern scene. So I had taken Spanish at Georgetown, and I spoke it fluently. So I grabbed an opportunity that presented itself to live and work in Argentina and cover Latin American news for the Sunday Times of London. Argentina, not the most normal course for a Middle Eastern woman. These few months in Argentina were, in retrospect, some of the best in my life. I covered the bloodless coup that toppled Latin America's longest-living dictator, Alfredo Stroessner, and was exposed to an entirely new and beautiful world. A year later, when I married Prince Talal of Jordan, also an SFS Hoya, the head of my new family, His Majesty King Hussein, always used to tell us that HRH was only a title. He said that it was our character traits and our values that bestowed the title upon us. In turn, this is what I tell my children day in, day out. And those wise words have motivated me ever since. I am saying this to you graduates to show you that in life, you need to earn things and to keep striving to be the best version of yourselves that you possibly can. Nothing is a given. Nothing stays the same. And the only thing you can expect is that unexpected challenges will always come your way. Shortly after my marriage, I wanted to pursue a career in journalism. King Hussein backed me and asked me to establish the International Press Office of the Royal Hashemite Court and to be his press secretary. Everything was wonderful. However, life had plans of its own. I was barely back from my honeymoon and still a carefree bride when my world was turned upside down. My husband was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma at the age of 26. In an instant, I fell head down into the world of cancer, of fear, of living in permanent anxiety. My husband's life was hanging by a thread, and there was really only one choice ahead for me: fight, fight, and fight all the way. And this is what we did. A veil had been removed from before my eyes, and my priorities were readjusted in an instant. This experience led me to my true calling, my true passion, the fight against cancer. I have been leading this fight for 14 years now as chairperson of the King Hussein Cancer Foundation and Center. On a daily basis, the center that bears our beloved King Hussein's name is leading the battle against cancer in our region and is the only internationally accredited, comprehensive, standalone cancer center that is providing life-saving care to thousands of patients from all over the Middle East. Why am I telling you this? Of course, because it means a lot to me, but also because it was Georgetown that enabled me to cope with whatever life threw my way. It encouraged me to get out of my comfort zone and to take risks. Without Georgetown, I would have never had these skills. I would have probably remained very happily stuck in my comfort zone. Georgetown also gave me the education, the direction, and the strength of character to face my challenges head on, and not only overcome them, but transform them into some of my greatest achievements. In conclusion, I would like to leave you with my top 10 list, made up of pieces of advice that I wish I had been given at my own graduation. Number 10, measure a person by the size of their heart and not their bank account. Number 9, life is not fair. Just keep moving forward. Number 8, you will likely fail often. Don't let that discourage you. It's part of life. Number 7, if it doesn't feel right to you, don't do it. Walk away from it. Number 6, leave your comfort zone behind. Push the envelope. Move into uncharted territory. Number 5, do one thing at a time. Give all your attention to one assignment. Number 4, stay true to yourself and follow your passion wherever it takes you. Number 3, perseverance, perseverance, perseverance. Never, ever give up. Number 2 comes from my all-time hero, the late Steve Jobs. He said, "Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition." And my prize number 1 comes in the rightful words of Michael J. Fox. Family is not an important thing. It is everything. My family is everything to me and has made me who I am today. Please take care of yours. You now belong to that unique and exclusive club, that of being a Georgetown graduate. I cannot think of a more exceptional badge of honor. You have earned it. To each and every one of you, and to your parents, Alf Mabruk.